Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tira Vanachari Yamuna Tira Vanachari Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Harinam Sankirtan ki jai जगन्नाथ बलदेव रामायण की जय श्री राधा कृष्ण चंद्र की जय नरसिंह भगवान की जय पंचतत्व की जय षड गोस्वामी की जय गुरु परंपरा की जय श्री गुरुपाद की जय श्री गुरुदेव की जय टैगोर प्रेमानंद हरि बोल ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयं उदीरयेत्. Before reciting this Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of God Narayana, unto Naranarana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Nashta prayeshu bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati neshtiki. By regular attendance in classes on the Bhagavatam and by rendering of service to the pure devotees, all that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed. And loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. So, Hare Krishna, Guru Mataji, thank you for joining and keeping the appointment with Krishna today. So, today is 12th of July 2023. I just share the screen. So, we'll be discussing from 3rd canto, 26th chapter, entitled Fundamental Principles of Material Nature. So the three verses are 44, 45, and 46. So I think the time is also of the essence. So 3 verses have been allotted for me. So what I will plan to do is, I will recite the 44 and 45. In the 46th verse, I will let Prabhuji's Mataji to recite as well, right? Okay. Thank you, thank you. So let's recite the 44th verse. Rasamatra vikurvanad ambasodaiva choditat Gandamatram abhut tasmat prithvi ghranasthu gandagaha. Word to word meaning is rasam matrat, which evolves from the subtle element taste. Vikurvanat, undergoing transformation. Ambasaha, from water. Daiva choditat, by a superior arrangement. Gandamatram, the subtle element of odor. Abhut, became manifest. Tasmat, from that. Prithvi, earth. Granaha, the olfactory sense. Tu, in fact. Gandagaha, which perceives aromas. Translation by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Please hear the translation. Due to the interaction of water with the taste perception, the subtle element odor evolves under the superior arrangement. Thence, the earth and the olfactory sense, by which we can variously experience the aroma of the earth, become manifest. The 45th verse. Karam baputi saurabhya Shanto gramladi visprata Dravya vayava vaishamyad Ganda eko vibhidyate. The synonyms. Karamba, mixed. Puti, offensive. Saurabhya, fragrant. Shanta, mild. Ugra, strong, pungent. Amla, acid. Adibihi, and so on. Pritak, separately. Dravya, of substance. Avayava, of portions. Vaisham, yad, according to diversity. Gandhaha, odor. Ekaha, one. Vibhidyate, is divided. Translation and purport by Divine Vishal Prabhupada ki jai. Please hear the translation and purport. Odor, although one, becomes many, as mixed, offensive, fragrant, mild, strong, acidic, and so on, according to the proportions of associated substances. Purport. Mixed smell is sometimes perceived in foodstuffs prepared from various ingredients, such as vegetables mixed with different kinds of spices and asafoetida. Bad odors are perceived in filthy places. Good smells are perceived from camphor, menthol, and similar other products. Pungent smells are perceived from garlic and onions, and acidic smells are perceived from turmeric and similar sour substances. So the original aroma is the odor emanating from the earth. And when it is mixed with different substances, this odor appears in different ways. Now we'll recite the 46th verse. Bhavanam brahmanastanam Dharanam sat visheshanam Sarvasattva guno bhedaha Prithvi vritti lakshanam Bhavanam brahmanastanam Dharanam sat visheshanam Sarvasattva guno bhedaha Prithvi vritti lakshanam Bhavanam brahmanastanam Dharanam sadvisheshanam Sarvasattva guno bhedaha Prithvi vritti lakshanam. Yes, any Prabhuji's Mataji would like to recite, please.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, may I?
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Bhavanam brahmanah sthanam Dharanam sadvisheshanam Sarvasattva gunodbhedah Prithvi vritti lakshanam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, may I?
Yes, Mataji.
Bhavanam brahmanasthanam Dharanam satvisheshanam Sarvasattva gunodbhedah Prithvi vritti lakshanam. Hare Krishna.
Anybody else also recite?
Can I, Prabhuji?
Yes, Mataji, go ahead.
Bhavanam brahmanasthanam dharanam satvisheshanam sarvasattva gunodvedah prithvi vritti lakshanam. Dhanyavad.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. So we go to the word to meaning, synonyms. Bhavanam, modeling forms. Brahmanaha, of the Supreme Brahman. Sthanam, constructing places of residence. Dharanam, containing substances. Sat Visheshanam, distinguishing the open space. Sarva, all. Sattva, of existence. Guna, qualities. Udbedaha, the place for manifestation. Prithvi, of earth. Vritti, of the functions. Lakshanam, the characteristics. Translation and purport is in Divan Gesher Prabhupada Ki Jai. So please hear the translation and purport. The characteristics of the functions of earth can be perceived by modeling forms of the Supreme Brahman, by constructing places of residence, by preparing pots to contain water, etc. In other words, the earth is a place of sustenance for all elements. Purport. Different elements such as sound, sky, air, fire, and water can be perceived in the earth. Another feature of the earth especially mentioned here is that earth can manifest different forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. By this statement of Kapilas, it is confirmed that the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Brahman, has innumerable forms, which are described in the scriptures. By manipulation of earth and its products, such as stone, wood, and jewels, these forms of the Supreme Lord can be present before our eyes. So when a form of Lord Krishna or Lord Vishnu is manifested by presentation of a statue made of earth, it is not imaginary. So the earth gives shape to the Lord's forms as described in the scriptures. In the Brahma Samhita, there is a description of Lord Krishna's lands, the variegatedness of the spiritual abode, and the forms of the Lord playing a flute with a spiritual body. All these forms are described in the scriptures. And when they are thus presented, they become worshipable. So they are not imaginary, as the Mayavada philosophy says. Sometimes the word bhavana is misinterpreted as imagination. But bhavana does not mean imagination. It means giving actual shape to the description of Vedic literature. Earth is the ultimate transformation of all living entities and the respective modes of material nature. Jai Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Om Gyan Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namne Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschat Deshatarane Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Dvanta Pravishya Mamavachi Mama Prasuptam Sanjeevayati Akila Shakti Dharaswadamnam Kanyam Chahasta Charana Shravanato Gadin Prananamo Bhagavate Vishayatubhyam. So Hare Krishna Mataji. Welcome all of you once again.
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. So this chapter entitled Fundamental Principles of the Material Nature. So we are not in the material world, right? So it's always very nice to understand what is the nature of this material world. So it's very beautifully given, right? See, there are 24 elements have been described. That is a fundamental, that is pradhana. See, there are 5 gross elements, 5 subtle elements, 5 jnana indriyas, knowledge acquiring senses, 5 karma indriyas, action oriented, and 4 subtle senses. So 5 gross elements are earth, water, fire, air, and ether. And the subtle elements for these gross elements is gandha, rasa, rupa, sparsha, shabda. That is 5 subtle elements. For the earth, it is gandha, water is rasa, for fire is rupa, air is sparsha, and ether is the sky, or ether also means sky, right? So ether is shabda. And what are the knowledge acquiring senses from this earth? We saw the subtle one is gandha, that is then smell. For water, rasa, that means then taste. That is knowledge acquiring. We smell from the gandha, right? So then taste. Then fire, we get the rupa. So that means sight. And from air, sparsha, touch, no? The sense of touch. And ether, that is shabda, sound. So that is sense of sound. That is a sense of ears, right? Sound, auditory. And the karma indriyas are outgoing is evacuating, generating, traveling, working, and speaking. And the 4 subtle senses: mind, intelligence, false ego, or ego, and contaminated consciousness. So these are the 24 elements. Okay. So see, now the point is, why should we learn all these things, right? 24 elements are there, okay. We accept as it is, what is there, doesn't matter. But the point is, the question is, how does one go to the Param Dhama? How can we go there? Okay. So, can we go to the Param Dhama by performing austerities, tapasya? Just by doing tapasya, we cannot go to Balokam. Up to Brahmaloka, I can go by performing austerities, tapasya. But in order to go to Param Dhama, which is beyond this material nature, you have to become a devotee of the Lord. You have to surrender to the Lord. So that is a qualification to go to Param Dhama. So therefore, whatever you study just now, the 24 elements, is Sankhya philosophy. So Sankhya philosophy is analytical study. So what is that analytical study? The analytical study, it explains first the material nature. And the purpose of Sankhya is not only just to analyze the material nature, but through this analysis, we should come to a point of understanding the spiritual nature. So generally, Sankhya analyzes material nature with the 24 considerations, right? So the main point is, what Sankhya is doing is that Sankhya is taking us beyond the material nature, and that is the purpose of Sankhya. And in Bhagavad Gita, there also Krishna is briefly giving the essence of Sankhya, just in 2 verses. And he's establishing that Sankhya in the form of 7.4 Bhagavad Gita says, Bhumi Rapo Nalo Vayu, Kham Mano Buddhi Revacha, Ahankara Iti Yamme, Bhinna Prakriti Rashtada. He says, so Prakriti here has been described or analyzed by Bhinna Prakriti with Ashtada, 8 elements, right? These are the gross elements, right? Bhinna Prakriti Ashtada. Then he is saying in 7.5, Apareyam Itastvanyam, Prakritim Vidhi Me Param, Jiva Bhutam Mahabaho, Yedam Dharayati Jagat. He said that this is the inferior nature of mind. But beyond this inferior nature, there is a superior element, superior consideration, that is Jiva Bhutam, the living entity. So the living entities, that is actually the soul, right, are not a product of this material nature. The living entities are coming from Para Prakriti. Prakritim Vidhi Me Param. So this is the point. The purpose of Sankhya is actually to transcend the material nature and come to the spiritual nature through knowledge, jnana. And that jnana is the analytical study. So this branch of jnana is analytical study, Sankhya philosophy. See, otherwise we cannot understand, no? Or rather, how do we understand intellectually? How do we conceive the existence of spiritual sky? See, somebody may say there is a spiritual world. There is a spiritual sky. Now, how do we get to know about the spiritual sky? How do we get the knowledge of the existence of the spiritual sky? So that is the purpose of Sankhya philosophy. Like analyze, that is analyzing the material nature. So you will come to a point when you will see that there is something other than matter. Something that is beyond matter. And that is the soul. So soul must have come from somewhere else because soul is not matter. So the whole matter has been analyzed up to the point of Mahat Tattva. But soul was not there. So 24 elements, soul is not there, right? So soul is beyond Mahat Tattva. Soul is beyond material experience. So this is the knowledge. And when one becomes situated in knowledge, then he aspires to get out of this material nature. So knowledge by itself is not enough. See, by understanding the science of devotional service in Sankhya philosophy, one can become free from the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance. So the eternal self, after becoming freed from the spell of material nature, then it becomes eligible to enter into the kingdom of God. See, as long as one has even a slight desire to enjoy, or Prabhupada always says, or lord it over material nature, there is no chance of being freed from the influence of the material modes. One has to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead analytically, as explained in the Sankhya system of philosophy by Lord Kapila Deva. That's what is the whole chapter is doing. See, due to false ego or false identification of oneself with the body and the material world, we are entrapped by Maya. When we can cut the knot of attachment to the material world, that is understanding, and that understanding, once we know that, we have to cut this attachment with the material world, that understanding is called knowledge. Prabhupada says the purport, Atma Darshanam means to see oneself by knowledge. So when one is freed from the false ego by the cultivation of real knowledge, he sees himself. And that is the ultimate necessity of human life. See, the soul is thus isolated from the entanglement of the 24 categories of material nature. It's not there. So the pursuit of systematic philosophic process called Sankhya is called knowledge and self-revelation. That's what people say in 326.2. See, material energy, it cannot cover the Lord. Just as darkness cannot cover the sun. Although Krishna's material energy is utilized to create the material world, this does not mean that Krishna is covered by that energy. Those who are covered by material energy are called conditioned souls. So the Krishna, the Lord, accepts the material energy. Why does he accept the Krishna does the material energy? For his material pastimes in creation, maintenance, and dissolution. That's why he's creating his material energy. But the conditioned soul is covered. He cannot understand that beyond this material energy, there is a Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is the cause of all causes, sarva karana karma. Just as a less intelligent person cannot understand that beyond the covering of the clouds, there is a bright sunshine. See, the material energy was accepted by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in order that he might exhibit pastimes for the living entities who wanted to enjoy and lord it over the material energy. So this world was created through the material energy of the Lord for the so-called enjoyment of such living entities. Now, why this material world was created? For the sufferings of the conditioned souls. Why was it created? For the suffering of human soul? Very difficult question to understand, right? So there is a hint in the my Prabhupada, the one of the words that we say, which means he says, for the pastimes of the Lord. Material world created for the pastimes of the Lord. See, the Lord wants to rectify the enjoying temperament of the conditioned souls. Because the main purpose we came to the middle world is because we wanted to enjoy independent of Krishna. Right? So this enjoying temperament is still there. So Krishna says it cannot do it, but that's why now he wants to rectify that. So it is stated in Bhagavad Gita that nobody is the enjoyer, but the Supreme Personality of God. Bhuktaram Yajna Tapasa. Krishna is the supreme enjoyer. So this material energy is therefore created for anyone who pretends to enjoy. Pretends to enjoy. The very nice example can be Prabhupada given. See, there is no necessity for the government creating a separate police department. Actually, there is no necessity. But it's a fact that some of the citizens will not accept the state laws. So a department to deal with criminals is necessary. That's why it is created. So there is no necessity, but at the same time, there is a necessity. Now, similarly, there is no necessity to create this material world for the sufferings of the conditioned souls. But at the same time, there are certain living entities known as Nitya Baddha who are eternally conditioned. They want to enjoy. So it has to be created to rectify those. See, whatever the material energy dictates, the conditioned soul does. Passion, according to goodness, passion, wickedness. So, he has no responsibility. He simply witnesses the action. But he's forced to act in that way due to his offense in eternal relationship with Krishna. Speaking about the soul. So the soul, individual conditional soul has actually no responsibility. He simply witnesses the action. But he's forced to act in that way due to his offense in his eternal relationship with Krishna. So Krishna therefore says in Bhagavad Gita that Maya, that is his material energy, is so forceful that it is insurmountable. You can't overcome it so easily. But if a living entity simply understands that his constitutional position is to serve Krishna, and he tries to act on this principle, then however conditioned he may be, the influence of Maya immediately vanishes. So this is clearly stated in Bhagavad Gita, 7th chapter. So Krishna takes charge of anyone who surrenders to him in helplessness. And thus the influence of Maya or conditioned life is removed. See, the spirit soul is actually Satchidananda, eternal, full of bliss and full of knowledge. So unless the clutches of Maya, or he suffers from conditional birth, death and disease, right? So under the clutches of Maya, he is suffering in this birth, death, old age and disease. So one has to be serious to cure this condition. Of condition of what? Of material existence. And transfer himself Krishna consciousness. By this, his long suffering may be mitigated without difficulty. See, the suffering of the conditioned soul is due to his attachment to material nature. We are suffering because we are attached to the body, attached to the material world, material nature. So this attachment should thus be transferred from matter to Krishna. See, after understanding the position of the conditioned souls in relation to material nature, Devahuti, mother of Kapil Deva, wanted to know how the nature works under the direction of the Lord and what the relationship is between the material nature and the Lord. So she wanted to learn the characteristics of the Supreme Lord in relation to the material nature. See, the difference between the conditioned soul and the Lord is that the Lord is the Lord, the master of material nature, and is therefore not subject to its control. That's what we feel within his control. No, he is controlled by neither by spiritual nature nor material nature. He is the supreme controller himself. And he cannot be compared to the ordinary living entities who are controlled by the laws of material nature. So this is the condition of material nature immediately before the manifestation is called pradhana. Because all the ingredients were there, 5 gross elements, everything was there. But nothing was acting, it was just there. It's like the ingredients. So it is called pradhana. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it says the sum total of the 24 elements, pradhana, is a source of birth and subsistence of all living entities. It's a source. So Prabhupada says when the pure consciousness is polluted by material contamination, and when identification of body becomes prominent, one is said to be situated under false ego. So consciousness is the function of the soul. Correct? Consciousness is the function of the soul. And therefore, behind the consciousness, there is soul. Okay. But consciousness polluted by material contamination is called ahankara, false ego. The mixing element, which is the mixing element among these 24 elements, is time, known as time. Mixing element is known as time. That is the 25th element. Prabhupada says in 3:26:15. See, when Brahman is mixed with the 3 qualities, goodness, passion, and ignorance, the result is material expansion. And Prabhupada says, which is sometimes called Saguna Brahman, and which consists of the 25 elements. Now, in the Nirguna Brahman, where there is no material contamination, there is the spiritual world, the 3 modes, goodness, passion, and ignorance, they are not present. This Nirguna Brahman, the spiritual sky. So where Nirguna Brahman is found, it is unalloyed goodness, total pure, right? Now, Saguna Brahman is described in the Sankhya system of philosophy as consisting of 25 elements, 24 plus the time factor, including the time factor, past, present, and future. See, when the time agitates the neutral state of material nature, all the 24 they are there. But when the time mixes and agitates this, material nature begins to produce varieties of manifestations. Ultimately, it is said that the Supreme Personality of Godhead is the cause of creation. See, as a woman cannot produce children unless impregnated by a man. The material nature cannot produce or manifest anything unless it is impregnated by the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the form of the time factor. Plus his glance, right? So this Paramatma, who resides within the body of the individual soul, is described in 13.23 Bhagavad Gita as the Upadrashta, witness, and Anumanta, sanctioning authority. So Paramatma means super soul, to sitting by the side of the conditioned soul just to sanction his activities. He does not interfere. Upadrashta, witness, and Anumanta, sanctioning authority. So the conditioned soul comes to this material world. Why does he come? To lord it over material nature, to enjoy. Now, since one cannot do anything without the sanction of the Lord, he lives with the Jiva soul as witness and sanction giver. As individual, we cannot do anything. So that's why Krishna is the Paramatma is there. He witnesses the activity and sanctions. So he gives, see, Krishna also gives maintenance and sustenance of the conditioned soul also. See, the concern of the Lord is neither to enjoy nor to suffer from the material body. So he remains with the Jiva simply as sanction giver and witness so that the living entity can receive the results of its activities, good or bad. Karmas, right? See, outside the body of the conditioned soul, the Supreme Personality of Godhead remains as the time factor outside the body. So according to Sankhya system of philosophy, there are 25 elements. The 24 elements already described plus the time factor makes 25. So according to some according to some learned philosophers, the super soul is included to make a total of 26 elements. So this pure status of consciousness or Krishna consciousness exists in the beginning, just after creation, and consciousness is not polluted at that time, right? It's a pure consciousness. The more one becomes materially contaminated, the more consciousness becomes obscured, no? So in pure consciousness, one can perceive a light, a slight reflection of Supreme Personality of Godhead. See, in an unagitated water, very clear, pure water, free from impurities, right? One can see everything clearly. So in pure consciousness or Krishna consciousness, one can see things as they are. One can see the reflection of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, and one can see his own existence as well. So this state of consciousness is very pleasing, transparent, and very sober. So in the beginning, consciousness is pure. So in the beginning, no, from clear consciousness or pure state of Krishna consciousness, the first contamination sprang up. And that is called false ego or identification of the body as self. So the living entities exist in the nature of, in the natural state of Krishna consciousness. But they have the marginal independence, right? And this allows him to forget Krishna. See, originally pure Krishna consciousness exists. But because of misuse of the marginal independence, there is a chance of forgetting Krishna. The false ego is born because of misuse of independence. False ego is the basic principle for all material activities, which are executed in the modes of material nature. As soon as one deviates from pure Krishna consciousness, what happens? He increases his entanglement in material reaction. So the entanglement materialism is the material mind. And from this material mind, the senses and material organs becomes manifest. See, in the material world, no, we are producing so many things. And this is called advancement of civilization. But actually, the advancement of civilization is a manifestation of the false ego. By false ego, all material things are produced as objects of enjoyment. So what Prabhupada says is one has to cease means stop these increasing artificial necessities in the form of material objects. See, we are creating so many things for our own enjoyment. Cars and TV and phones, so many things, right? Narottama Das Thakura, he has lamented that when one deviates from pure consciousness of Vaishnava Vasudeva or Krishna consciousness, he becomes entangled in material activities. He says, Narottama Das Thakura says, I have given up the pure status of consciousness because I wanted to enjoy in the temporary material manifestation. Therefore, I have been entangled with the network of actions and reactions. So from the false ego, see, false ego also is there in goodness, passion, and ignorance. From the false ego of goodness, another transformation takes place. From this evolves the mind, whose thoughts and reflections give rise to desire. Then by transforming the false ego in passion, intelligence takes birth. See, from the sound, the ether became manifested, and that the air became manifested from ether. Now, how the ethereal sky comes from the sound? How air comes from the sky? How fire comes from the air? See, sound is the cause of the sky, and sky is the cause of Shrotra, the ear. Sound, right? We saw the 5 senses, right? So the ear is the first sense for receiving knowledge. So one must give oral reception to any knowledge one wants to receive, either material or spiritual, through the ears. This is the first sense that came, and this is the last sense which goes off. So therefore, Shrotram is very important. The Vedic knowledge is called Shruti. Knowledge has to be received by hearing. By hearing only can we access to either material or spiritual enjoyment. So sound is the first sense object to exhibit material existence. And from the perception of sound, touch perception evolves. And from touch perception of sight. So that is the way of the gradual evolution of our perceptive objects. See, tangibility, touching, is a proof of form. See, objects are perceived in 2 different ways. They're either soft or hard, cold or hot, like that. So this tangible action of the sense of touch is the result of the evolution of air, which is produced from the sky. See, we can perceive the action of the air when the branches of a tree move and when the dry leaves on the ground collect together. You have seen this, right? Similarly, it is only by the action of the air that a body moves. And when the air circulation is impeded, many diseases result. Paralysis, nervous breakdowns. Many of the diseases are actually due to insufficient circulation of air. See, in the Ayurvedic system, these diseases are treated on the basis of air circulation. If from the beginning one takes care of the process of air circulation, such diseases cannot take place. So from Ayurveda and from Bhagavad, it is clear that so many activities are going on internally and externally because of the air alone. And as soon as there is some deficiency in the air circulation, these activities cannot take place. So our sense of proprietorship over action is also due to the activity of the air. See, the air circulation is stopped or some difficulty is there. We cannot approach a place after hearing. See, if someone calls us, we hear the sound, right? Because of the air circulation. And we approach that sound to hear that, or the place from which the sound comes. So it is clearly said in the verses that these are all movements of the air. So the ability to detect odors is also due to the action of the air. See, by interaction of the air and the sensation of touch, one receives different forms according to destiny. So by evolution of such forms, there is fire, and the eyes sees different forms in odor. See, because of destiny, the touch sensation That is interactions of air and the situation of the mind, which is produced for the ether element. No one receives a body according to his previous activities. So living entity transmigrates from one form to another. His form changes according to destiny and by the arrangement of a superior authority which controls the interaction of air and mental situation. So form is what? Form is a combination of different types of sense perception. So predestined activities are the plans of the mental situation and the interaction of air. That's why, at the time of death, whatever you think, you become. Correct? That's what is being told. See how all these elements are coming into being, creating a form and body. So the constitution of a certain object is appreciated by its internal action. See, for example, the form of salt is appreciated by the interaction of salty tastes. Correct? In the form of sugar, it is appreciated by the interaction of sweet tastes. So tastes and qualitative constitution are the basic principles in understanding form of an object. Fire is appreciated by its light and by its ability to cook, to digest, to destroy the cold, to evaporate, give rise to hunger, thirst, eating and drinking. So the first symptom of fire are distribution of light and heat. And the existence of fire is also perceived in the stomach. See, without fire, we cannot digest what we eat. And without digestion, there is no hunger and thirst or power to eat and drink. Bhagavad Gita 15.14 says, Aham Vaishwanaro Bhutva, Pranina Devamashita, Pranapanam Samayukta, Pachamiyanam Chaturvidam. Krishna says, I am the fire of digestion. So without fire, we cannot digest, right? We eat something, after going inside, how it is getting digested. Krishna digests. So by the interaction of fire and the visual sensation, the subtle element taste evolves. Taste under the superior arrangement. And from taste, water is produced. And the tongue, which perceives taste, is also manifested. So the tongue is described here as the instrument for acquiring knowledge of taste. Because taste is a product of water. So there is always saliva on the tongue. See, although originally one, taste becomes many, like astringent, sweet, bitter, pungent, sour, salty, due to contact with other substances. So the characteristics of water are exhibited by moistening other substances, mixing various substances, causing softening things, then driving away heat, right, by water. And it is supplying itself to the reservoirs of water. So refreshing the thirst, right? See, starvation can be mitigated by drinking water. How? See, it is sometimes found that, if a person who has taken a vow to fast takes a little water at intervals, so the exhaustion of fasting is at once mitigated. So in the Vedas, it is also stated, life depends on water. So with water, anything can be moistened or dampened. Flour, chapati banata hai na? Flour dough can be prepared with a mixture of water. Mud is made by mixing earth with water. So see, water is the cementing ingredient of different material elements. If we build a house, water is actually the constituent in making the bricks. Fire, water, and air are the exchanging elements for the entire material manifestation. But water is most prominent. Also, excessive heat can be reduced simply by pouring water on the heated field. See, water has its own quality. What is its quality? Rasa, taste. It's known as taste, the taste in water. Rasoham apsu kaunteya, Bhagavad Gita Krishna said. So as soon as we remember water, means we remember 4 qualities. We remember, right? Ether, sound, touch, form, and taste, right? And in Sanskrit, there are beautiful words, Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa. And all these 4 combined together with the glance of the Lord to produce the earth, which is full gloss, which we can see very well. And because the earth is created last, it has 4 qualities already. That is Shabda, Sparsha, Rupa, Rasa. And the earth has its own quality. That is smell, Gandha. Fragrance of the earth is again Krishna. So, from the 44th verse, no, further analytical study of water is mentioned by Kapil Deva. So the rasa, the taste changes into Gandha, smell. So taste is created by, in the verse 44 we saw, no, Deva Chodita, superior arrangement. See, taste of everything is being done, Deva Chodita. But the taste creates the different kinds of fragrance within the earth. So different kinds of smell are already within the earth. Simply it brings out the different methods. Different gandha, smell, fragrance, aroma, whatever you call. They are already there within the earth. Punyo gandha prithivyaamcha. 7.9 verse, Bhagavad Gita. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Punyo gandha and Papo gandha. In the middle word. Everywhere there are 2 things. Pious and impious. Papa gandha, bad smell. And Punyo gandha, feel fresh, no, very nice. So Krishna says, Punyo gandha prithivyaamcha. So when you smell something very fragrant, see, just like the flower, no, there are different varieties of flower. Prabhupada says the purport in one of the classes. They're exacting different varieties of aroma from the earth. Rose smell, right? Jasmine different, but the same earth, but these different fragrances are coming. How? The good smell of the flower. So it is said in Bhagavatam that when you see a flower, you see Krishna smiling. That is seeing of Krishna smiling. The flower should be utilized for Krishna's service. Because these flowers, see, is Krishna's energy. So specifically, good fragrance of flower, no? Krishna says that I am that good fragrance. So Krishna's particular presence is there. So thereby we can remember Krishna immediately by seeing the flower. So this Krishna conscious movement, Krishna Prabhupada says is that you remember Krishna always. Always Krishna you should remember. Just like Maharaj Ambrisha. Samay mana Krishna padar vendayoho. 9:4:18 Bhagavatam. He engaged his mind at the lotus feet of Krishna. Simply by engaging the mind. If we utilize our senses, always in the service of the Lord, that is bhakti. See, at the present moment, we are utilizing our senses for material objectives. That is to be purified. It should be used for Krishna's service. See, we are using our senses for the service of society, friendship, and love. But that service should be transferred to Krishna. Then it is bhakti. Chaitanya Charitamrita is Sarvopadi Vinirmuktam Tat Paratvena Nirmalam. See, this flower, no, we are smelling. We are enjoying. But that is for sense gratification. Same flower, if it is offered to Krishna as a garland, that Krishna will smell it and feel the pleasure, that is bhakti. So to come to bhakti marga or devotional service is not very difficult. The smell is creation of God, Krishna. So therefore the smell should be used for Krishna's pleasure. That is bhakti, not for our pleasure. So this is tyaga. Tyaga means actually it should be used for Krishna, who has produced it. So our senses are also Krishna's senses. Right? Rishikena sevanam bhakti ruchyate. Rishika means senses. Unfortunately, our senses are being used for sense satisfaction. It is for sense gratification. So bhakti means this practice of using the senses for sense gratification should be rectified, should be purified. Then the same senses will be utilized for Krishna's satisfaction. And then you become a bhakta. See, Krishna's things may be used for Krishna. So the smell is transformation of the rasa, taste. See how the subtle things are going on. That is described by the Sankhya philosophy presented by Kapil Deva. But we do not understand practically how things are going on, right? So Daiva is the principal cause. Sarva Karana Karanam. So Bhakta, a devotee sees in everything presence of Krishna. Oh, here is Krishna's energy. Here is the taste. Here is Krishna Rasoham Sukhanti. So Krishna has manifested himself in so many ways by his different energies. We have to learn simply to know or see how Krishna is working. So here it is stated that Rasa, Matra, Bikurvana, Ambaso, Daiva Chodita. So Krishna is working there. Bikurvana, transformation does not take place automatically. There's somebody behind that. So from the gandha smell, no fragrance of smell. So in the smelling power, nostril, they perceive different varieties. This is the 44th. See, variety is there. See, although the same thing is one, no, one Krishna, but even his material energy, is perceived in varieties. That is the purpose of this Sankhya philosophy. How one has become many. Ekam Bahu Syam. So intelligence is to know the one as well as the varieties. Advaitam Achyuta Manada Mananta Rupam Adyam Purana Purusham Nava Yavvanam Cha. So everything is there. Janmad Yasyataha. First canto, first chapter, first verse. The absolute truth is that where all varieties are there. Although he is one, but still varieties are there. Otherwise, where from the varieties are coming, right? Everything, all varieties. You see in the material world, how many varieties are there? You take one bunch of flower, you study minutely, how many hundreds and thousands of varieties of thorns, twigs, color, everything is there, variety. So how these varieties are coming? From the absolute truth, right? I think in the Chaitanya, Parasa Shaktir Vividhaiva Shruyate Swabhavike Jnana Bhala Kriya. Jnana Bhala Kriya. The Supreme Absolute Truth has got so many varieties of energies. So for each and every variety, very fine craftsmanship, there is different energy. They are working. Just like we require to present some varieties. So Krishna himself has got all the special varieties of energy. And they're working in such a nice way. Krishna does not have to go to college or learn design and how to prepare, make all this. Nothing. It's Swabhavika on his own. So suppose if you want to paint something, you must have the knowledge of painting, right? The jnana should be there. So Krishna, anything, he is the creator. Therefore, he is perfect. All opulent. Anything that requires to be created, he can create. So we have got the creative energy. So we can also part and parcel, we can also create. But not in fullness like Krishna. So Krishna's variety of energy, that is full of potency. So all opulences, see, for creating a nice flower, which is created by Krishna, right? With his brain, the seed of the flower is a chemical composition, automatic. Swabhavika, jnana. He knows. Naturally, he knows how to make the seed perfect. So that from that seed, by sowing in the soil, by watering, whole varieties will come. Is there any scientist to put in a small seed, all the chemicals, and it'll come out automatically? Any motor car will come? That is not possible, right? You have to create everything. And Krishna is so perfect that he has created one male body and one female body, and innumerable entities are coming out. That's why Yantra Urvada Maya. This is Yantra, but this Yantra is coming by union of two Yantras. One male Yantra and female Yantra. And millions of Yantras coming. Where is that capacity? See, in the 46th verse, Brahmana Sthanam, this temple, all the temples are there. There is Brahmana Sthanam, residential place for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Brahmana means the absolute truth. Absolute truth is understood in three different features. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti Shabdyate. 1 to 11, Bhagavatam. So Supreme Brahman means Krishna, Supreme Personality of Godhead. As it was accepted by Arjuna after understanding the full Bhagavad Gita, right? And therefore Arjuna addressed him as Param Brahma, Param Dhama, Pavitram Paramam Bhava in 10.12 Bhagavad Gita. So you are Param Brahma, he said. Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. Brahmeti, Paramatmeti, Bhagavan iti Shabdyate. Absolute truth. So according to our different realization, absolute truth is realized in three different features. Impersonal Brahman. Then localized pervading Antaryam, Paramatma. And the last word of is Bhagavan. See, the yogis, by meditation, they try to understand the Supreme Absolute Truth. Jnani. So they have got their function to realize the Absolute Truth. Similarly, Bhakta, devotee, they want to worship the personality of Godhead in a temple. See, that's why Prabhupada says we have made a very gorgeous place for the Lord. That is the utility of the land to construct the temple for the Supreme Personality of Godhead. See, Graha means utilize the earth, right? People want some Graha from a house. So this propensity can be utilized by constructing temple. You want to build a house. That propensity, I must have a very high skyscraper building. That tendency is there, but if you utilize this tendency of constructing, bhavanam, brahmana sthanam, instead of thinking I have such a big bungalow, if you transfer that thinking, I have constructed such a wonderful temple for Krishna for establishing deity worship. That is a proper utilization of this tendency. So one is for sense gratification, another is for constructing temple for Krishna's pleasure. See, there also, for constructing temple, you also again labor. You have to get municipal sanction, you have to get the ingredients, cement, stone, so many things. But it has got relationship with Krishna. That is Krishna consciousness. See, your capacity to construct something material, right? But if you do it for Krishna, then it is Krishna consciousness. Your life will be successful. Because you are thinking of Krishna always. Kamsa was always thinking how to kill Krishna. That is also Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada says. You are thinking in a different way, how to kill Krishna. One is favorable and the other is unfavorable. One is thinking of Krishna, how to kill him. The other is thinking of Krishna, how to serve him. So this thinking, how to serve him, is called bhakti, not otherwise. As Kamsa was thinking how to kill him, that is not bhakti. Bhakti means anukuliyena Krishnanushilanam. Anukula means favorable. If you think of Krishna in various ways favorably, how to serve Krishna, how to decorate Krishna, how to give Krishna a nice place for residence, temple, right? How to preach Krishna's glories. In this way, if you think, that is Krishna consciousness. Anukulyen Krishnanushilam Bhakti Uttama. That is first class bhakti, how to serve Krishna. Even though I have got one decision in my life, but if I understand that Krishna wants me to do something different, I have planned something, but Krishna wants me to do it different, I should be ready to perform this. That is Krishnanushilanam. If you favorably serve Krishna, that is Bhakti Uttama, first class bhakti. Unfavorably, as Kamsa was thinking, how to kill Krishna, that is not correct, unfavorable. See, Kamsa also got salvation because always thinking of Krishna, but not the salvation of the devotees. Devotees' salvation different from the salvation of the non-devotees, Canis. So the three features. So in this life also, we can utilize these earthly things. Bhumir, Apa, Anudlo, Vayuhu, Kambano, Buddhi, Rivacha. We can utilize all these material elements in the service of the Lord. So with the earth, we can prepare the forms of the Lord. We can prepare the temple of the Lord. That is required. This is Satvika. Bhavanam, Brahmana Sthanam, Dharanam, Sad Visheshanam. Sad Vishesha, and Asad Visheshan. Asad Vishesha, this is to be understood. Asad Vishesha, just like we got this roads, cars, buildings, so many things, no? They are also transformations of the earth, but they are Asad Visheshan. Because they will not stay, they are temporary. Any house, car, road, city, everything, nation and all, they are all Asad, temporary. But the same thing can be done again, Sad Visheshan. Temple which you create is Sad Visheshan. This deity is Sad Visheshan. Worshiping the deity is Sad Visheshan, so we can utilize. So this Vaishnava principle, no, means everything accepted are Krishna's. See, Mayavadis, they say, no, that Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya. They say this world is false. But Vaishnava says, no, it is not false. It is a byproduct of Krishna's energy. If Krishna is true, how can it be false? So they do not take this world, material world, as false. It is temporary. So they know how to utilize this material world for devotional service. Bhavanam Brahmana Sthanam. You can utilize the same energy of constructing something out of bricks and stones and wood into a nice temple. That was the Vedic culture. See, still in various cities in all over India, we can see temples, mosques, everything, right? In every gully, it will be there. So earth, water, air, fire, these are all different energies of Krishna. Bhinna Prakriti Ashtada. So it has got some relationship. So when it is utilized for Krishna, Krishna's energy is utilized for Krishna, that is bhakti. And when Krishna's energy is utilized for our sense gratification, that is called demonism. Same thing. Same thing you can utilize for Krishna, that is bhakti. And same thing you can utilize for sense gratification, that is demonism. So everything belongs to Krishna. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. Ishopnes mantra 1. Sarva. Bhoktaram yajna tapasam sarva lok maheshwaram. He is the proprietor. So because he is a proprietor, he is a proprietor of my body also. So everything should be utilized for Krishna. That is bhakti. Krishna is giving us everything. So simply Krishna wants, no? So he only wants. So let us admit that we are all getting it from Krishna. That is necessary. He is supplying us everything, even to the non-devotees. But the non-devotees do not recognize that. That is Krishna Prasadam. By mercy of Krishna, I have got it. No, that is non-devotee. And as a devotee recognizes, this is the distinction between devotee and non-devotee. So this is how we should understand. And so it's very useful points to understand all these Sankhya philosophy to 24 elements and how it's mixed together and how the taste came, how earth, ganga, odor, everything we read, right? So it's taken a long time. Sorry to Mataris. We'll need to stop here. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Shri Gopal ki jai. Go from Hari Bol. Panchakal Turvich Kriba Sandhu Vayevacha Patitanam Pavanam Vishnu. Thank you for giving this opportunity to glorify the Lord. And within my capacity, whatever I could understand, I was able to share with all of you. If you have any questions or anything to share, please go ahead. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. It is simply astounding, and word that I'm a deficit of words. You have brought a totally different perspective of the gross elements, the subtle elements, and the beautiful, that's called the mixing element, that is water. It's something superfluous, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, you are really enlightened. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Gurudev ki jai, Shri Gopal ki jai.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Hare. Thank you very much, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Hare Krishna. So do you have any questions or anything to share? Otherwise, we can stop here. Thank you, Prabhu's Matajis, for this opportunity. So let us stop here. Hare Krishna. Kantra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Dandavat Pranam.
Pranam, Prabhu. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, you are the host.